Mike Cute, Director of Rowing at Westside. In this video, I'll be going over some sculling fundamentals that we can take advantage of at our summer sculling camp. We're going to go over basic boat handling skills, how to take the boat in and out of the boathouse, how to get in and out of the boat on the dock, basic fundamentals of sculling, and also what to do if you come into a situation where you flip and how to get back in the boat. This and more for this video. Okay, so we're going to go over how to take the boat out of the boathouse if there were two people carrying the boat, okay? During COVID-19, it's important that you wear your face mask when inside the boathouse. But for the purposes of this video and speaking clearly, I'm going to remove my mask so I can show proper ways to put the boat on the rack. It's important that we go over how to take the boat out with another person, and then we'll also be going over how to take the boat out by yourself. We want to make sure that it's safe, effective, and that we don't damage the boat itself or anything around it. So it's very important to be aware of your surroundings and also to take your time and to think before we just grab a boat and rip it right off the rack. Ian and I will be taking out this Pinard single. It's important that we make sure that we have strong communication between one another and also make good eye contact. The worst thing you can do when taking a boat out is not look at the boat at all. Okay? We have to be facing forward to the center of the boat. Okay? So I will be making the calls. Ian will be listening. We'll be making eye contact. It's important that we don't hit the boat above us, if there is one, or boat below us. We have to be aware of the full boat with the riggers. Okay? So I would make a call and say, let's get hands on. We're both at the end of the boat. We're both looking at one another, making eye contact. That way we can see the whole boat and the surroundings of the boat. So we'll do hands on. I'll say, let's lift it up an inch, right? Remember, an inch is only about that. You don't want to slam the boat up into the rack above us, okay? We'll slowly walk the boat out. It's important that we walk sideways before we walk forward. Then we'll take the deck, which is this part, and we can turn the boat sideways so that the flat part of the boat, the deck, is against our body. If we keep one arm cradled, we will not drop the boat. If we hold the boat like this, we have a higher chance of dropping the boat. So keep the boat close to you. Riggers like this, we make sure we're not hitting any of the boats on either side. So Ian will face forward. He will lead the way, and I will also watch from being behind where the riggers are, where the racks are, where the other equipment is, making sure that I don't hit anything. It's very important that we just take our time and look at our surroundings to make sure that we're not going to damage any equipment. Okay, let's walk it out. Okay, Ian, let it run. It's important to remember to still keep your face mask on while you're on the dock with other people, and also to maintain a socially distanced 6-foot separation. Once you get on the water in the single, you can remove your mask. Right now, Ian and I are carrying the boat onto the dock, and we're going to place it into the water. So, Ian, let's walk it down. We want to walk all the way down to the end of the dock. That way, another person can get the single in. Okay, so when Ian and I are putting the boat in the water, just like taking it off the rack, we need to make eye contact with one another. We will then make the call to go guts up, hands out, so we're away from the dock, and place it slowly into the water. Okay? You should never hear a sound when the boat hits the water. Take your time, make sure the boat doesn't hit the dock, and make sure we put it in slowly and easily right into the water. But it's important that one part of the boat is on the gunnel, this flat part near the shoe, okay? And then the other part of the boat is on the bow deck, okay? We have rubber matting on the racks, so it should not cause any damage to the boat. If you see, there's a splash guard right here. It's important that we don't rest the boat on the splash guard, okay? We can chip this, it can break off little pieces. We want to make sure that we have the boat evenly dispersed on the rack, okay? So it's very important that we put the boats back properly. When handling the boat by yourself, it's important to know that not every single is the same. Some singles have side mount riggers or Euro riggers. Some have backstays, some don't have backstays. Some have wing riggers, front or back. So it's important that when taking a boat out, you find the balance point. So I'm going to find the balance point of this Pioneer 26, okay? Pioneer is more of a training single. It's not necessarily your go-to racing single, but it will give you the feel of a racing single with a little bit more stability. But for taking this out, I'm going to step back, I'm going to look at the boat, right? I'm going to find the balance point. And the way I find the balance point is I might get underneath it and pick it up a few times and see if the boat is balanced on my shoulders, okay? If I come too far down, I'm only going to pick one end of the boat up and not the other, okay? And if I did that and pulled the boat off, the one end will just drop to the ground and cause damage to the boat. So I find the balance point by only lifting it an inch or two off the rack. Remember, I have to be aware if there's a boat above me or a boat below me, because I don't want to hit the riggers of this boat on the boat below me, and I don't want the riggers of the boat above me to hit the boat on the hull. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I found the balance point on here. I can kind of remember if I'm using the same boat. It's right around where the 26 is. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hand on the opposite side of the boat. I'm going to put my shoulder on the closest side of the boat. Okay? I'm going to lift up an inch and I'm going to sidestep it out. Okay? From here, I will lower it down to one side, and it's important to know that when handling a single, it can be awkward. Like right now, the way I'm holding it is awkward. But as long as I move slowly, okay, and take my time, I have complete control over the boat. If I'm frantic in any way, then I will be swinging the boat all over the place, and we don't want that. There's many ways to carry the boat. So I'm going to show you another way to take the boat off the rack. The same principles apply where I'm finding the balance point. I want to make sure that the boat is going to be balanced when it's on my shoulder. This is a personal favorite of mine and a little bit easier when there's no boats above you, but you can still do it if you're in between two boats. What I'll do is I'll reach across like this. I will pick the boat an inch off the rack to where it's balanced. I walk it straight out. I'm not walking forward, I walk straight out, and then I'll roll the rounded side onto my shoulder. Now I don't have anything digging into my shoulder. I just have the rounded side of the hull, but it's important that the weight is evenly distributed on this part of your neck. It's important when carrying the boat out of the boathouse that you keep your eyes forward and make sure that you're not moving side to side. If you're moving side to side, you have a greater chance of banging into the boats around you. Again, also, you can look back, you can look under the boat, just take your time. No sudden movements. The more sudden movements you have, the more likely it is that you're going to move the boat. Remember that you may put one side of the boat in the water first, okay, as long as it doesn't come back up on the dock. And I keep the boat out away from the dock when I'm putting the boat in the water. We don't want to drop the boat on this part of the dock. Okay, so when getting in the single, it's important to remember that some singles have backstays and others do not. This single does not have a backstay. So sometimes people just throw the oars in without thinking. If your oar is facing the wrong direction, right, it's going to cause you problems on the water. It's important that the oar lock always be facing towards the feet when putting the blades in. It's also important that you put your oar in on the side closest to the dock first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to undo my oar lock, like we all know. I place my starboard sculling blade in because I'm on this side of the dock, and I close the oar lock. Then I have an anchor to the dock, and the boat will not float away. It will also give me a little bit more weight towards the center of the dock when I'm going to open the oar lock gate on the other end of the boat. Okay, so now I'm gonna put in my port oar. And I already have my starboard oar in the oar lock and the oar lock tightened down. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna crouch down, okay? I can rest my oar pulled in, not in the oar lock. As you can see, if I'm crouching down on the dock, I cannot reach my oar lock. What I need to do is I put my inside knee on the dock, okay? Give me a good foundation. I put 1 foot, right, where you're supposed to step, not in the bottom of the boat. And as you can see, I just ran into a problem. The bolts are on the dock. So what I need to do is I need to lift it off the dock, okay, so that the bolts are not resting on the dock. And this makes it a little bit more comfortable. I reach out, I undo the oar lock, okay, make sure it's facing towards the stern, towards the shoes, not backwards, okay, and I place the oar in. I do not push it out yet, I just place the oar in there. I go and I close the oar lock, okay, and tighten it down. Now it's important, if you can't get a good grip on it, that once you get in the boat, you reach out, right, tighten each oar lock one at a time, and that way you make sure your oar is not gonna pop out. Remember, if your oar pops out while you're rowing, you're going for a swim. Now that we've gone over the oar locks facing forward, which is one of the biggest things that people mess up, I'm going to show you what happens when you put one of your oar locks the wrong way. As you can see, my port oar's oar lock is facing towards the bow. We don't want that. Oar locks have a pitch in them that makes it easy for the blade to skim across the water and not catch a crab, okay? So with it reversed, my blade is now turned the opposite way, and I will struggle to row. As you can see, this blade is proper. So when I move my blade back and forth, okay, the blade glides on the water. This oar is the other way, so when I move it back and forth, the blade digs into the water. That's why it's important to have your oar locks facing forward. If you go out and you accidentally put your oar locks facing the wrong way, or one of them facing the wrong way, it's important to calmly try to get back to the dock, okay, and get out of the boat and redo it, okay? If you're frantic, you will probably flip. So what I'm going to do is I realize that I have to get my oars locked facing the other way. If you're a seasoned sculler, you could probably undo it, flip it around, and put it in while in the water, although you need a little bit more confidence when doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to over feather within the oar lock, okay, and just try to get back to the dock, all right, without my blade getting caught in the water. Okay, so now we're ready to get in the boat, get on the water, and get sculling. I'm going to push my oar across, okay, and it's important that once my oar is across, that both of my oars are together and create a stable surface. There's no way of me getting in the single not holding the oars. So it's important that we always have our hands on the oars. I'm gonna move my seat back. I'm going to step right in the square where you're supposed to step in the boat, okay? Hands, one hand on the oar, I can do one hand on the dock, and I sit in on the seat, nice and slowly, taking my time. I put my feet in, I'm still holding the oars. If I let go, right, I have a greater chance of flipping, okay? So, my feet are in, okay? I make sure that my Velcro is on, okay? And then I am ready to shove. Now, before you shove, it's very important that you look around at the boat, make sure your oar locks are in, right, and tight. Make sure that there's nothing wrong with the seat, nothing wrong with the feet, right? You'll know when something's wrong. If something seems off, it's probably off, and you need to get out and see what's up and fix it, okay? So, I'm sitting here, I put my legs all the way down, hands on the oars, and I go to the finish. Now, where this boat is set, if you see where my hands are, I'm very tight to the body, okay? So I don't want that. It makes it a lot harder to scull. So what I want to do is, while keeping my hands on the oars, okay, I have enough room on my tracks that I can now go forward, right? And if I don't have my hands on the oars, I kind of press the oars together between my thighs and my body, okay? And what I'll do, right, and it's always important to remember, you just take your time, okay? Something feels off, just look at it. If you get frantic, you're going for a drink, all right? So I undo my wing nuts, okay? It's important that you undo them enough that it will move, right? The three of them, okay? And you don't slam your feet around in the boat, okay? So what you do is take your feet out, okay? What I like to do is I rest them above here, okay? And I grab the top of the foot stretcher, I lift up, and I slide it back, okay? And when you put it back, you want to make sure they're both even, they feel like they're in a groove, okay? And what I'll do is I'll move slowly back, okay? Just taking my time. I have not sculled in a year and a half, all right? So for me, it's a lot of remembering the basics, okay? I get my feet in. I recheck the fish. And where I'm at, okay, is I probably need to come back just one more. And if I lift up, I come back a little bit. Now, I'm going to shove off the dock and kind of show you the proper hand position, but we'll come back and go off of how to shove. But with both blades on the water, okay, you can see, one, my thumbs are on the end of the blade, okay, end of the handle, and they're just rubbing up against my rib cage, okay? I'm not all the way out here, all right, and I'm not super tight in. The thumbs just rub up against the rib cage, okay? So I come back up, I like my position, I tighten my wing nuts down. No rush. Okay? I go back to the finish, I give a little kick, making sure they don't come loose, all right? I sit at the finish and I'm ready to go. So we're gonna go over shoving on the dock. The most basic way to get off the dock on our style of dock is we walk the boat down, right? We lean a little bit away so we're not dragging the riggers. Okay, we walk all the way to the dock, and when we get to the very, very end, okay, we give it a good shove, okay? Another way you can shove off the dock, if you're able to, is by pushing off the dock. Now keep in mind, if the wind is pushing you towards the other dock, it's probably a good idea to walk the boat down. But on a flat day like this, I can shove away, right? Be patient, and then I can pull the oar in and push out. Okay? Now my oar is away from the dock, take a few small strokes. I look behind me and I'm ready to go. Okay, so a few basic things once you get in a single that you want to do are you want to keep your hands left over right, okay? So with left over right, if we're too much left over right, we're going to lean. So even though it's left over right, it's really left hand slightly in front of right hand with your left hand on top, okay? We also want to make sure that our thumbs are on the end of the oar and that the oar handle sits right on the inside of our knuckles. That way, when we are rowing, our hands don't slide down the oar and we row in a more comfortable position. So thumbs on the end, okay, left over right, and when starting off,
it's very important just to take short strokes that have confidence. So when I get off the dock, it's important that I sit ready, okay? The first thing I do is I have to look behind me and see where my bow ball is pointing, okay? I want to get my point, okay? So I pick a spot in the distance, I aim my bow ball for that, and then that's where I start rowing. So you always want to pick a point before you start rowing. All right, so after I pick my point, the first thing I want to do is I do not, big mistake number 2, do not want to take a full stroke right away. If I don't have my bearings, if I go and take a full stroke, I have a greater chance of hesitating at the catch and flipping, okay? The biggest reaction anybody has when they feel unbalanced is they're gonna wanna take their hands off the oars and grab the side of the boat. That will just increase the speed of flipping, okay? So important, I wanna keep my hands on the oar handles and I wanna just take a quarter stroke, half stroke, arms only, something light, sharp, and quick right away. Okay, so arms only, I get the boat moving, I come up the slide a little bit. In some cases, it usually happens to you at least once while you're rowing the single, you may flip or fall out of the boat. In that case, I'm going to go over how to get back into the boat safely and effectively. If you flip, sometimes it can be a shock. The water temperature right now is fairly warm, so the biggest thing to remember that if you flip or fall out of the boat, that you just remain calm and you stay with the boat. The boat and the oars will stay afloat, so as long as you grab onto that, you're good to go, all right? And you won't drown. The biggest thing that you want to think about is you want to pull your feet release if you're flipped underwater and just get out of the boat. You'll want to turn the boat over so that it's back up this way. Get the oars into position, and then you'll grab the oars and try to hop in one motion. And I will go over that in the water scenario. Again, if you can't get back in the boat, all right, just wait for a coaching launch and they will assist you. But the main thing is that you stay calm, you don't flail, and you just stay a little bit focused. Take a breath. If you have to take a minute before you get into the boat and flip it over, that is fine. Okay? But the main thing is just stay calm and take it step by step. All right, now the time that everybody's waiting for, me flipping. So I'm gonna do this based off taking a full stroke right away and not paying attention to what I'm doing. First thing we're gonna do, first try. So for many of us at Westside, we are new to sculling. It's important to remember that you take your time, all right, follow the basic coaching instruction, and as you spend more time in the single, you'll get better at it. So just take your time, step by step, and you'll be training in the single within a week or so. And most importantly, go Westside.